Welcome back to tonight's sad reality. I've never played Bendy and the Ink Machine in my life. I know nothing about this. I couldn't sleep 2 nights ago, so I was like, you know what? This is the perfect thing to do. Let's play Bendy, I guess. What am I even supposed to do? I saw this had like incredibly mixed reviews. I can't see anything. Oh my gosh. Hello? Can I increase the viewability of any of this? Maybe. Do I go around it? What am I supposed to do? Oh, found it. Closing the blinds in my background so I can actually see so the glare isn't so bad because it's such low, uh, whatever we're calling this. Oh, chair. Hello, Mr. Chair. Is there actually anything happening, please? Is there content? Is any of this even remotely watchable? Oh my gosh. Oh, there's the chair. Okay, well, you know what? We can't sit down, we can't jump, we can't do anything. I'm gonna stare at a chair for an hour and tell a story. This game is apparently really bad according to the Steam reviews, so you know what? This is gameplay. Say hi to Chair. I couldn't fall asleep 2 nights ago, and it wasn't anything like abnormal. It was just a thought I had, and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of revolutionary to me. Can't explain it other than what I'm about to say, and I guess the story that goes into it. So we'll call this a lesson in cruelty. I have a cat, or I had a cat that I really loved. Her name is Twix. And this is probably the only cat that I've ever actually like had a connection with, if that makes sense. I feel like every other cat in my life has been like either I don't want you near me or I tolerate you for like 2 seconds. But this cat was like a cat that would always just like be there, would be around, and like I felt like cared about me in some weird way. I don't know. Um, Cats can't open doors. They're not supposed to be able to open doors. I don't think they open doors. But there was one morning I remember so vividly waking up, and my cat was like licking my eyelashes, and I was like, I close my room at night when I go to sleep. How are you in my room licking my eyelashes? How did you get in here? I think that was like a day I had to go to school. Now, was this back in middle school or high school? I can't remember. My memory is really bad. Um, I know when my grandfather died, that was back in fifth grade. I don't remember when my grandma died as far as timing on that. Late high school or late college. Something like that. And I guess that's kind of my point of what I'm gonna say. But so my family has 4 cats, or we had 4 cats at some period of time. Um, kind of three mostly, but so we named our cats after chocolate. Mine was Twix. My sister picked a cat that has like kind of, I'm not gonna say spotted. It's more like white in some parts and gray. So named her Hershey Kisses because like gray patterns. And then the last one was named Heath, and that was one my parents got. Kind of. So like when we did this when we were much younger, they would do that, and they would like sleep together under the couch. They were really close to each other. And of all the 3 cats we had, so mine was Twix. She was a Russian blue cat, meaning it's like a very dark appearance. So there's a gray cat or like a spotted gray or spotty gray. I don't know. I work in retail. I think I should know these things. But instead of that, if you look like really close, like underneath the fur, it almost looks blue. So hence the term Russian blue cat. But they're all from the same family, I guess, or litter. I think of litter, I think of like throwing trash on the ground, and I would never do that to a cat. But yeah, they're all from the same family. And then now the current cat we have is a bit of a mess. She is by far the most skittish cat I've ever seen. Her name's Hershey. Um, because we were like we gotta keep the branding going. Twix, Kisses, Heath, and Hershey. Hershey was the runt of her group. She actually ran out into the road. My dad and sister caught her. They brought her back to wherever she was from. And then my sister was like, "Can we keep her?" And then we did. And then our family's a mess. It really is. And we brought the cat home, and then two of our three cats like absolutely hated Hershey, and then one kind of got used to her, and then the other one is actually still locked in my parents' room. And it's kind of dying. I think last I heard they were like, "Do we give her steroids? Do we not? What do we do to keep this cat alive, or like not really alive, but in a condition where she's all right, I guess." Um, Twix passed away way before Heath did. Heath passed away. Gosh, I remember when. I remember coming downstairs one day making a sandwich. I was actually on a voice call with my friends, and I was like, "Oh, I think my cat's dead." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's he's no longer alive." And that's unfortunate walking down to seeing that. We know he was kind of on his last legs, but he was still like eating and doing stuff. I just remember seeing him there, and I was like, "Okay, well, things happen." Um, for my family, anyways, I look back and I'm like, how long do we keep our cats alive for? Do they last a while? Do they not? I don't know. I don't know what's a normal length of time. I feel like our cats, they're here and then they're not. But I guess their lives are also very short compared to ours, so that's kind of normal. Um, but so Twix was the first to go, and we don't remember she was kind of dying. And you're like, why did you start the video by saying you couldn't sleep 2 nights ago? Well, this was the thought I had from like literally years ago that was kind of driving me crazy. And I don't know why. When I die at some point, I don't want to be alone. And that sucks to me because I realize that there's so many people in this world, and because it's a world filled with people, it's really easy to feel lonely. But I don't want to be alone when I die. Um, that's like my one request. And I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe in like we're never truly alone if you think about it. And the government's watching you, the shadows, paranoia. I used to be afraid of the dark. Whatever, you could take this in any direction you want to. But being alone sucks, and I can't imagine being on my last legs dying, and I guess like nobody being there, nobody caring, or I guess people being around and just being like, "Oh yeah, he's dying." Not that I am or anything, but it sounds really morbid, and I guess the point of this video is kind of morbid. That day that my cat died, Twix, I had to go to school that day, and my parents were like, "Do you want to say one last goodbye to her before you go?" Anything like that. She's in what we call our bonus room. It's got like a rocking chair. She's just kind of sitting there. And I was like, "No, I'm good." They're like, "You sure?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." I just never really thought about it. I went to school, and then she just wasn't home when I got back, and well, there's a bag full of ashes. I'm like, what was this? Eighth grade? Was this high school? I think it's got to be high school, right? Whenever this happened. But yeah, so she's gone. And we knew she was in pain, and I think my parents like put her down, whatever, and cremation and stuff. But I'm like, if that was the one person, like put yourself as like the cats, for example. I never read Warrior Cats, but like if cats have thoughts, which I assume they do, and where we draw the line between sentient and intelligent, I think is a whole interesting debate. Um, but if there was one person you cared about slightly more than the other people, I guess you'd want them to be there, you know? Um, I guess you'd want them to be there. I can't imagine looking back at old me and being like, well, cat's dying. We can say goodbye or not. And you don't. Like everyone looks back at their younger self and they're like, man, I sucked. Everyone does this. Everyone in the whole world does this. Um, like I remember being that kid back at summer camps. I would look at other kids and being like, "You're younger than me. I'm cooler than you. It's the me party, you know. I'm better." Uh, and then you look back at that and you're like, "Wow, I was a cringe kid." Do you still hate little kids younger than you? Maybe. I don't know. But we all look back at that and we're like, "This was dumb." But I think about me now and I'm like, have I really changed that much? I was. This is probably what kept me up. I finished Proverbs last month, and there were a lot of interesting ones. I think it was Proverbs 23 that talked about the alcoholics only going back to wine or alcohol to drown out their existing sorrows, which were probably created by the alcohol that they're drinking. And I'm like, wow, that's dark. Jeez, gosh. I don't know if that's David or Solomon or one of the other people, but it's like, yeah, alcohol can be scary. Don't do that. It's kind of funny too. My parents, they're never really drinkers, but I know they used to have, I think they're called koozies or whatever. It's like a thing you put around beer cans, and it's so like the moisture and condensation and the cold doesn't get on your hands when you're holding it. But they don't really drink anymore. Or at least my dad doesn't. My mom will have a wine here and there while she's doing Bible study and then make a penis joke afterward. I'm thinking, her motto is always never grow up, and I'm sitting here wondering why the world's the way it is. And well, I look back at the people on it. Anyways, not the point at all. Um, Proverbs talks about alcohol. That's cool. But there's another line that I thought was really interesting. It was something along the lines of, "The kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. The kindest acts of the wicked are cruel." I'm probably greatly misinterpreting this, or maybe the line wasn't right, or I read the NIV. It's not the KJV. I'm not one of those elitist. I don't know. The kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. Why do I remember it like that? Even if that's a misinterpretation, I don't know. But that's the way it stuck with me. Maybe there's some other words in there. Um, Even just like the way I walk my dog. Some days I'm like, if she pulls on the leash, I yank her back. It's not like a hard thing, but I'm like, am I cruel to animals? No, I don't think so. I think there's also a place to put them in their place when it's like, hey, do this, don't do this, like you can discipline someone. That's intentional. But the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. And I look at retail and I'm like, you know, if you sell someone a credit card and then you're potentially putting them in debt, or the way you treat them is the way they're treating you is shitty, or who knows. Um, I don't know. Obviously, those are like not the kindest acts is the point. That's another big part of that as well. What are my kindest acts? What are the kindest things I've done to other people? And even like I look back at this past Christmas, I didn't really get anything from my parents, and I look at this and I'm like, well, our family's it's a wreck some days on a good day. I wish we cared about the next generation more than ourselves, or I wish you know, we're gonna slap Christian on our lives and pretend that we don't worship ourselves over God. Life's weird sometimes. But that was what's keeping me up, is I was like, am I a bad person? Do I have a net negative on the world? I hope not. But I can't imagine feeling awful, dying, knowing that whatever meds I'm taking aren't helping me, and not saying goodbye, I guess. It's so weird because like you think it's a cat. It doesn't care. But I was thinking about the golden rule. I guess it's treat others, doesn't say other cats. I don't know. Interesting philosophy. I thought it occurred to me earlier today too. I was like, if you're not afraid of anyone in the world, like you realize there's all sorts of crazy things. Like your boss could yell at you for being late. Your parents could yell at you for not being who they want you to be. People could yell and scream and kick and piss, fight, maim, murder. Um, but you're not afraid of it because you know that it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I was like, what is there to learn from? Because there's other things in the Bible too, other than just Proverbs. It's like there's elders out there, there's people you're supposed to like look at and learn from or whatever. And it says be careful of idolatry, but I look at a lot of people and I'm like, I think what there is to learn is simply what not to do in cases. But there's not anything to ever aspire to. And the thought occurred to me too that I was like, if I'm not afraid of any of these people, if it doesn't bother me the opinions of others, for I know other people can be cruel too, then it's like the whole idea of a moral compass is a compass has to point some way, there has to be some axis, there has to be good and evil. But it seems like if there's no fear in the equation, there's no caring, that there is no moral compass. And I think that should scare me. There was a line I read the other day. It was a really good line. There's in a, I think I'm probably gonna turn into a video soon. We'll see, I guess. See if I can find it still. So I took a screenshot of it and put it somewhere in. Yeah, here it is. Being angry or being sad, as long as you can feel regret, it means that your soul hasn't atrophied yet. As you get older, you begin to just accept some things. Feeling regret is a young person's privilege. And I think about the the world that we've grown up in and the crazy things, and like, sure, it's probably a matter of overthinking these things. Like, why cry over something that's 5, 6, 8 years ago? But I guess that means that we still care. It's like the same reason I tell myself it's like I'm not gonna try to discipline someone that doesn't listen to discipline because there's no point in that. Um, Proverbs says that one too. Hey, look at that, listening to something that makes sense for once. I know, crazy for me. But I look back at that, and some days it's hard for me not to do that or to look at people and say things or be like I have a coworker, and I know she's afraid of the future, because she's like 26, 28, and she's been stuck in retail her whole life, doesn't really have much going, doesn't have really much in her bank account, hasn't really done much with life, probably doesn't live in the best, likes alcohol, all these other sorts of things. And I could try to console, that I say, constantly enter commands and someone about the future, but I guess why comfort someone that's going to be scared again was the thought I had. But I think that means that we care. It's the same reason, like, I have another coworker, and I was actually thinking about this today. Um, he was like, dude, we should go run a marathon, or like a half marathon or a 5K or something. We should go run. He thinks these things, and maybe he commits to them. I don't know. Probably not. I know he never really does these things, but I'm like, you know what? Hey, if you want to go on a run, I'll be there. I'll go on a run with you. I will be there. I will run 5, 8, 10, 13 miles, 5K, 10K. Is that 13 miles? I don't know. The conversion's not really something I remember. Or do I remember the units themselves? No, I don't really. Anyways, but I would do that for him if he wanted. I told him I was like, you know what, literally just anything to get out of the house to do something else in life. Um, and it's not that I think it will happen. I just know that if it did happen, I would want to care and I want to be there and do things. On a completely other note, there's another story I wanted to tell, and this is kind of not even in the realm of the same things I was going to say. Um, but I had another coworker who he went out on a date. He's what I think he just turned 18. I think he just turned 18. I don't know how recently or how many months ago. But he went out on a date. And I think he said he was at some restaurant. He said the waitress looked cute. She was 19, he's 18, and they were like, "Hey, you know what? They'll make that a thing." Kind of. They went on a date. Couldn't keep a conversation going. They just kind of agreed not to do anything about that. And this coworker of mine, I don't really look up to people in the retail space, but he's always got a smile on, and sure, like maybe his performance and like the metrics, like the things that make the money work aren't perfect. But I'm thinking she just let down Spider-Man. That's like you look at the new Spider-Man, Tom Holland. I was about to say Todd Howard. That's no, that's Bethesda. Tom Holland. I was watching a bunch of Avengers stuff the other day, and they all pick on him. I guess I don't know if there's actual reasons for it, but it's like a running joke or something. Um, and it was like, man, she's missing out on him. He's a great guy, genuinely. And then the next day he comes in and we make a bunch of gay jokes and he's on his way. Oh, welcome to Gen Z. Welcome to Gen Z. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for caring. Uh, just a reminder, if your moral compass is missing a needle, you can probably find one in a haystack somewhere. You just have to go searching for it a little bit. And you never know what situation someone's in or what they're going through. And even with a channel as uh, open as this is, it's not like am I fully honest? Because sometimes I even question myself with that. I like to think I am. I try my best to be, anyways. But like sometimes I feel like words don't come out the way I want them to, or you just can't say things because brain don't work the way you want it to. But thanks for watching. I'll see you in tomorrow's Sad Reality. I'm not gonna say don't make mistakes, but I guess the lesson in cruelty is don't knowingly make a mistake and look back on it and be like, maybe I should have been a little bit more kind. Maybe there's someone else out there other than me, you know? Maybe I think we are being watched in either a paranoid schizophrenic way or a, hey, there's angels out there. Someone probably sees the actions, whether it's the person receiving or whomever else. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you in tomorrow's Sad Reality. Did I skip a day yesterday? Yes. Did I sleep in a little bit more today because I couldn't sleep 2 nights ago? Yes. Life's a mess. I like it that way. I miss things being sad. That's what keeps this channel alive. So, see you in the next one. Have a good one, y'all.